علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا إلى آخر الآية. Subhanallah, last week we started the chapter on Miswak. And this was regarding at the time of wudu. Imam Hafidh al-Mundhiri, he's a Shafi'i as well. He's a Shafi'i, the author of the book of Targhib wa Tarhib, Awareness and Apprehension, or the easy meaning, encouragement and warning. Okay, those ahadith to do with encouragement, and those ahadith to do with warning you of the evils. Anyway, so this book, even in this book, even though he's a Shafi'i, he brings the chapter of Miswak from the Sunan of Wudu, So therefore, very clearly, it is supposed to be at the time of wudu, just like Imam Abu Hanifa said. Imam Shafi'i said you can do it at the time of salah as well, meaning standing up for salah just before the salah begins. But Imam Abu Hanifa's opinion, we said, is the best opinion because it's more closer to hygiene. And again, Imam al-Hafidh al-Mundhiri as well, he's also mentioned it. Even though he's a Shafi'i, he still mentioned it at the time of wudu. You do it before that or during the time of wudu, you make your miswak and then you clean your miswak. Khair inshallah. So let's carry on with the ahadiths. There's some of the ahadiths that we didn't cover. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لزمت السواك حتى خشيت أن يدرد في. رواه الطبراني في الأوسط ورواته رواة البزار من حديث أنس ولفظه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لقد أمرت بالسواك حتى خشيت أن أدرد. الدرد سقوط الأسنان. Subhanallah. Here, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that I stuck to using the miswak to the extent that my teeth would fall off, as if, because he would do it so hard that as if his teeth would feel like it would come off, fall off. So here the next hadith as well, very similar. Next hadith, وعن علي رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن العبد إذا تسوك ثم قام يصلي قام الملك خلفه فيستمع لقراءته فيدنو منه أو كلمة نحوها حتى يضع فاه على فيه فما يخرج من فيه شيء من القرآن إلا صار في جوف الملك فطهروا أفواهكم للقرآن. رواه البزار بإسناد جيد لا بأس به. This hadith is in Musnad al-Bazzar on the authority of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a person makes miswak, when a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes miswak, then he stands up to pray salah. Then he stands up to pray salah after making miswak. Then an angel listens to his Quranic recitation in that salah, the salah that is performed after making wudu and during which he made miswak, and then he performs salah. An angel comes and listens to his Quran to the extent that he comes right next to his mouth. The angel comes right next to his mouth. So when he is reciting as if the Quran is going into the mouth of the angel. Then he says, so therefore, فَطَهِّرُوا أَفْوَاهَكُمْ, cleanse, purify your mouths before entering salah. That's the maqsad of the hadith. So make sure your mouth is not smelling at the time of Quran, when you're reciting Quran, because the malaika are next to you at that time when you are reciting Quran. So therefore make sure that your mouth, there's no odor coming out of your mouth at the time of Quran. Next hadith, وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فضل الصلاة بالسواك على الصلاة بغير سواك 70 ضعفا. Here very clearly Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the virtue of a prayer, the virtue, the reward of a prayer prayed with miswak is 70 times more than a prayer that is prayed without using miswak. Okay? A prayer is 70 times more rewarding. You will get 70 times more reward for that same salah if you use miswak before that salah. So we must all try to use the miswak before salah at the time of wudu, inshallah. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لأن أصلي ركعتين بسواك أحب إلي من أن أصلي 70 ركعة بغير سواك. Subhanallah, this hadith makes it even more clear. And this hadith is رواه أبو نعيم في كتاب السواك بإسناد جيد. This hadith, the authority of the sanad of the hadith is good. So many might say this hadith is weak. This hadith is not weak. Look, very clearly Imam Hafidh al-Mundhiri is saying the hadith, the chain of it is good. Jayyid means good, meaning acceptable. Hasan. Okay? And Ibn Abbas, so here Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu ta'ala says, reports from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that for a person to pray 2 rak'ahs, for me to pray 2 rak'ahs with the miswak, meaning after doing siwak, is better for me than to pray 70 rak'ahs. It's better for me to pray 70 rak'ahs without siwak, without miswak. And this hadith is, as we said, has a good chain. Has a good chain. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu ta'ala, remember this hadith, he very clearly mentions that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, for me to pray 70 rak'ahs, for me to pray 2 rak'ahs with miswak is better than for me to pray 70 rak'ahs without the miswak. Without the miswak. So this is a great, great, great sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وعن جابر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ركعتان بالسواك أفضل من 70 ركعة بغير سواك رواه أبو نعيم أيضا بإسناد حسن. So this hadith, also the chain of the narration is acceptable and good. Acceptable and good. It's on the authority of Jabir. So it's not on the authority of Ibn Abbas. This hadith is in the author. So we have 3 hadiths. 3 hadiths, all of them are acceptable hadiths. Hadiths on the authority of Hasan, on the authority of good, acceptable hadiths, sound hadiths regarding prayer from 3 different Sahabas. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and all of them are muftis. Understand this, that all 3 of them are muftis. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she was the most knowledgeable. She was the faqihah. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the greatest mufassir al-Quran. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the mufti of Makkah. So all 3 of them narrating the same hadith saying that a salah prayed after doing miswak is 70 times more rewarding than a salah without miswak. And here this hadith regarding 2 rak'ahs is better than 70 rak'ahs without miswak. Without miswak. So for you to pray 70 rak'ahs is similar to doing 2 rak'ahs with doing the miswak before, at the preparation for that 2 rakat salah. Subhanallah. Nobody, inshallah, should miss this sunnah. It's only 10p, 20p, but it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference if you're a Muslim. Okay? If you're a Muslim, you believe in Allah, you believe in the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then it makes a huge, huge, huge difference in your life. And the reward that you get for praying that 2 rakats with the miswak is definitely 70 times more. 70 times more than you would get without using the miswak. Now we go into another chapter regarding takhleel. I mentioned that water in between the fingers and in between the toes. At the time of wudu, it always mentions that fayuhsinul wudu. A person must do ihsan of the wudu. Perfection of wudu or isbaghul wudu. Perfection of wudu is regarding every single part that you have to go through. So even the water must reach in between the fingers. Water must reach in between the toes. It's very hard sometimes in summer because your toes become hard, especially the part in between goes hard. So it is more difficult. Here, the hadith is on the authority of Abu عن أبي أيوب يعني الأنصاري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال خرج علينا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال حبذا المتخللون من أمتي. He says, congratulations to those who are mutakhallilun, those who do khilaal. Khilaal. This is called khilaal. Learn this. This is in wudu. In wudu, we make khilaal of the fingers. In between the fingers, you put so when your hand is wet, both hands are wet, you put one hand inside the hand of the other, like this. Okay? And like this as well. You can do like this as well, both ways. Okay? And then the other hand as well, likewise. At the time when you're washing the feet, make khilaal of the fingers as well, in the inside between the fingers. Normally we do it with the pinky. We do it with the pinky. Okay? At the time of wudu, you must make khilaal. This is the sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Habbadha al-mutakhallilun. Congratulations. Congratulations to those who make khilaal of their fingers at the time of wudu. Fingers and toes. قال وما المتخللون يا رسول الله. So they said, who are the mutakhallilun? Because it's a vague term. They didn't know exactly what Rasulullah was referring to. قال المتخللون في الوضوء. Those who make khilaal at the time of wudu. Congratulations to them. Then he goes on, والمتخللون من الطعام. And those who do khilaal at the time of food. What does that mean? You make space at the time of food. No, no. You clean the food. As you're eating the food, you clean the food thoroughly. Many people, they leave food. They leave the remnants of food. And the plate is half of it is full of masala. Isn't it? So this is not the sunnah of Rasulullah. Rasulullah's plate used to be the most cleanest. When everyone used to come and eat at the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she's washing up the dishes, she used to say, I used to know exactly which plate was the plate of Rasulullah. Which part, back in the days, they never had plates. They used to eat in one huge tal, like the Iranian style, Yemeni style. This was the sunnah. This is the sunnah. This remains the sunnah until the day of judgment. So they used to eat in a big tal. So his side used to be very clearly, because he used to make sure he used to take out all the remnants of the food, all the parts of the curry left with the finger, thoroughly. So you used to know exactly which side Rasulullah sat at. Subhanallah. So we must make sure, this is another sunnah that we always miss. When we eat, after we eat, we must make sure our plates are clean. We must clean it with this finger and lick the finger off. Okay, this is a great sunnah. وَالْمُتَخَلِّلُونَ فِي فَمَنِ إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ هُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْمَلَكَيْنِ مِنْ أَنْ يَرَيَا بَيْنَ أَسْنَانِ صَاحِبِهِمَا طَعَامًا وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ يُصَلِّي. Verily, it is not something good when at the time of salah a person stands up and he's got things inside his teeth. Okay? Things inside his teeth. And the angels that are with you, they dislike this extremely. They dislike this extremely. That's why, you know, our sasas, they say always before salah, after you ate, they say, do kulli. Isn't it? Go and wash your mouth. Do madmada. Do madmada. Go and clean your mouth. After you eat, make sure you at least clean your mouth before you come and start praying. This is the sunnah. This is from the sunnah as well. Okay? There mustn't be any remnants of food on your teeth at the time of salah, at the time of reciting Quran. Very similar. Okay, last part of the hadith. وعن عبد الله يعني ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تخللوا فإنه نظافة. Make khilal at the time of wudu, for it is more towards cleansing yourself thoroughly. Because if you got stuff stuck inside there, in between your toes or in between your fingers here, then your wudu won't be done. Your wudu won't be done. So you have to be very careful. For it is pure and clean for you. وَالنَّظَافَةُ تَدْعُو إِلَى الْإِيمَانِ. And cleanliness brings you towards iman. If a person is not clean, it shows his weakness in faith. Weakness in faith. Iman is weak. If a person is clean, shows he's got iman. He's got iman. So, وَالْإِيمَانُ مَعَ صَاحِبِهِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. And iman leads to a person going Jannah, very clearly. رواه الطبراني في الأوسط هكذا مرفوعا ووقفه في الكبير قال ابن مسعود بإسناد حسن وهو لا. Okay. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رأى رجلا لم يغسل عقبيه فقال ويل للأعقاب من النار. What is this aqab? Heels. Heels is this hard part. This hard part at the time of wudu, especially now, because we're wearing sandals. We're wearing sandals. It goes hard. If water doesn't reach that part, here very clearly Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, at the time of wudu, he saw a man performing wudu and he done it haphazardly. Done it quickly, basically. Yeah? He done it quickly. At the time when he was doing it quickly, he didn't wash his feet properly. His ankles were still dry. His heels were still dry. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, destruction be upon the person who hasn't washed his heels. So make sure when you're washing your feet, not making masah of the socks. This is another shaitani fitna. Okay? Bye. Allah is telling you to wash your feet, not to make masah on your socks. Okay? Allah is telling you to wash. فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Don't come with your excuses, don't come with your nonsense, okay? Make sure you follow Quran first. Understand Quran first and then go on to opinions of this person and that person, isolated opinions here and there, okay? Your ibadah is at stake. If you make masah on your socks, your ibadah is at stake. Your salah might not be accepted, according to the vast majority of the ulama anyway, okay? So be very careful with your wudu and taking fatwas from this person and that person and whoever you feel like. Be very careful. So he said, وَيْلٌ لِلْأَعْقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ, to say that make sure at the time of wudu, take time. Take time. Make sure you wash your face thoroughly, that your whole rim of the face is washed, right, until from earlobe to earlobe, from hairline to under the chin, your whole face is full, your arms until including the hard part. Summertime it goes hard, isn't it? Summertime it goes very hard. Sometimes you forget to wash it thoroughly. It stays dry. Wudu isn't done. Same thing with the heels. If you wash your feet and your heels isn't washed and your full ankle isn't washed, your wudu isn't done. Sorry. Okay? So this is very serious. This is a serious matter. وفي رواية أنه أبا هريرة رأى يتوضؤون من الطهرة فقال أسبغ الوضوء فإني سمعت أبا القاسم صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ويل للأعقاب من النار أو ويل للعواقب من النار. رواه البخاري ومسلم والنسائي وابن ماجه مختصرا. Here this hadith is in 4 of the mother books. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he saw another person. So this is another narration. He saw another person making wudu and he didn't wash his heels properly at the time of wudu. So he said, I heard Abul Qasim. Abul Qasim is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That was his kunya, his title. That woe, destruction be upon those who don't wash their feet properly. Don't wash their heels. Literally, wash their heels properly. And these heels, صلى بنا رسول الله وعن أبي روح الكلاعي صلى بنا نبي الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة فقرأ فيها بسورة الروم فلبس عليه بعضها فقال إنما لبس علينا الشيطان القراءة من أجل أقوام يأتون الصلاة بغير وضوء فإذا أتيتم الصلاة فأحسنوا الوضوء. Subhanallah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was reading Salah. He was leading with Surah Ar-Rum. Inshallah, we're going to read Surah Ar-Rum today. Yeah? Surah Ar-Rum. And he was getting confused within the recitation. Later on, after he finished his Salah, he said that some of you are not making your wudu properly. Some of you are not making your wudu properly. This is the reason why shaitan made me get confused in Salah. Of course, he's got wahi. We don't have wahi. Rasulullah has wahi coming down. So something maybe was revealed at the time of Salah, that he knew that some of the people, they weren't doing wudu properly or thoroughly. If you don't do your wudu thoroughly, you're going to have issues in your Salah automatically. Okay? So we try our best to make wudu thoroughly. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.